Hey everyone, I am super excited. I've been waiting to try these out for so long. And, I think it's about time. I think I've had this for almost a year now. Yeah, so I'm so excited. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. And probably from the title of this video, you could already tell, but I am trying the popular HIMI gouache set. I'm really excited to try this out. I've seen so many different YouTubers use it, and I bought it like probably the first time that I actually saw it, but it's just been sitting around. I've been in the process of moving, and yeah, I haven't had the time to like sit down, and I really wanted to like do an unboxing with it just because I noticed that a lot of people have been using these gouaches, and I'm very excited. They were actually out of stock the first time I tried buying them, so it took me a little while to get them. But as you can see, they are the little jelly gouache sets. I always hear that they're really hard to open, and I really don't think that's the case. I think it's just annoying having to open up all of them because that came off pretty easily. It has 18 different colors. I'm noticing that these two look very similar. No, that's actually blue. But they do look similar in the pan, so I think that that's going to be a little confusing for me. I don't think that I'm colorblind, but I might be a little colorblind. No offense to the colorblind community, but yeah, no, it's a bit of a struggle here. Maybe I'll have to move them around so they make sense for me. Right now I'm just kind of undoing them, and as y'all can tell, it's really not that difficult for me. Maybe it's because I've been crocheting a lot lately, so I have a little strong fingers right now. Feel like my fingers are muscle man. Wow, it's been so long since I've made a video for myself. I did recently just get a job as an art teacher, and I've been having to make online content for my kids, and it's been a lot of fun. So far I've only made like 2 videos where I'm actually in front of the camera. I've been doing a lot of PowerPoints. A lot of parent feedback was that they want PowerPoints, but I make content for kinder through 5th grade, so like I try to be a little bit understanding. Like, kindergartners aren't going to want to sit through a PowerPoint, and I'm sure most of the parents aren't going to want to read a PowerPoint to those kids. Not saying that kindergartners can't read, but I mean, I know as a kindergartner I would not want to sit and read about art. I love art, but come on me. So taking these apart is pretty quick. Like, it's not a huge thing. I'm noticing that some of these colors are kind of similar. They seem very vibrant. I know one of my old reviews, I did not do a swatch test, but I think this time I'm going to do that. I think that I'm going to do that off camera, or maybe I'll like speed through it just so y'all can kind of see these in action. But from the looks of it, they're super vibrant. I've had these sitting for almost a year now, and they're very, like, they have a lot of liquid to them. They're not dried out or anything. Probably in a while, like, I'd say like next time I try using them, they'll probably be drier. But that's just the nature of pan products. I'm almost done. And honestly, like, I really feel like it didn't take me that long to undo them. They are a little bit messy when you do some of them, and like some of them I do have some plastic still on them, so I guess that's kind of a pain, but realistically, I think that a lot of people were saying that this was a huge struggle for them, but it wasn't a struggle for me. I guess just kind of annoying, a little bit of a nuisance, because you can't just open it up and start playing with them. But anyway, here we have it, the HIMI gouache set, 18 colors. I'm gonna go ahead and do a swatch test. And so I did buy some gouache before I got this set because I didn't think that it was gonna be in stock. Here is a 24 count from Master's Touch. This is a Hobby Lobby brand, and as you can see, it's $14.99. You can use the 40% coupon, and I think when I bought this, Master Touch actually had 50% off, I want to say, on all Master Touch items. So I only got this for like $7, I think, around $7. That math is wrong. Probably around $10. So like this is about $10. This is about $20, give or take, online. I did have to wait a couple of days because it was backed up whenever I bought it. And I don't know how shipping is going on now. I know that I ordered something recently and it said that it was going to be here like in a week, but I have Prime, so no telling what's going on there. But anyway, this has 24 colors as compared to the 18 colors that this has. As you can tell, these are wet paints, not pan paints. So these you do need to grab some wells or something that you can put them in. The nice thing about gouache is they're very similar to watercolor, so if they dry out, all you have to do is just add some water and they work really well again. I'm not entirely sure if I have enough of these pans. I might have enough pans, but I'm gonna go ahead and do this one off camera. I'm gonna do a speed through of this swatch and these swatch, and we can kind of get a comparison of the two. I know that these are relatively easy to find if you live near a Hobby Lobby or any craft store, I guess, that might sell Master's Touch. I think they are pretty specific to Hobby Lobby, but I could be wrong about that. No, they are definitely a Hobby Lobby brand. So, you know, if you're opposed to buying from Hobby Lobby or if you're opposed to buying from Amazon, you have your options. If you're opposed against both of them, then I guess this video is not really for you, and I apologize. Hopefully I'll make more content soon. But anyway, I just wanted to go ahead and compare these two because I know that a lot of people talk about this brand being the best, and I could see why. Like, this is a lot of paint and it's super easy. Like, once you get all of the plastic things off, you know, you have it right there ready to go. This does seem like a little bit of a chore because I am gonna have to put them in a paint palette, or like in one of these guys. I guess this is a palette, but they're very small. I believe I got these at Dollar Tree if you're curious, and I think I bought them in a pack with this many, so you know, for $1 it's not bad, but you do have to have all these, so it's not really a traveling sort of situation as compared to this. Anyway, let me go ahead and get swatching, and yeah. Okay, so if you're not familiar with using gouache, it's very much like watercolor. Now, I've personally, and I know this is kind of crazy because last time I made an alcohol marker video, you know, it's kind of same boat. I never really used them as much. So I'm going to be 100% real with y'all. I've maybe used gouache like twice, maybe 3 times in my whole entire life. Now, I did learn how to use them in college. So like, you know, take that what you will, as you will. I don't use them often enough to be like, oh, I'm a pro with using them. But I mean, I did get professional advice on how to use them. But they're very similar to watercolor, except they're a little bit more opaque. So you're gonna kind of, it's like a watercolor and an acrylic. Like if they had a baby, that's kind of what you get from a gouache. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and label this HIMI gouache test. Oops, I do not know how to spell that great. Awesome. Okay. So whenever you're using them, you definitely want to use like a watercolor brush or a brush that holds enough water for them. Because I mostly work with acrylic paint, I'm gonna try using this paintbrush. Probably not like the best brush for this, but I mean, use what you have. Or, you know, get some more brushes. I did not. Okay, so I might have put a little too much water on here. Again, y'all, I am not the best at swatching colors. I don't know why I'll subscribe or why I'll watch sometimes, but, you know, here I am, trying my best. Ooh, that is such a pretty blue. Now, I might have added too much water here. So, you know, for those that have used gouache before, like, please let me know if I'm using too much water. Anyway, I really do like how it is very opaque, and they do go on like watercolor. Like, that is something cool. I'm gonna go ahead and speed through and do all of these colors, but I just kind of wanted to come on camera and let y'all know that this is how this works. I think that I put black in there, so that's a mistake. All right, these are very easy to use, by the way, so I probably should start cleaning my brush. So hold on one second while I go grab. Okay, so working with acrylic paint all the time, I kind of forgot that with watercolor, you do want to have a clean water supply and then your dirty water supply. So I went ahead and grabbed another cup. I know that I'm using these disposable cups, but honestly, somehow we ended up with disposable cups at our house, and I'm trying my best to get rid of them. This has been used already a lot for painting prior, so like, y'all don't come at me. I did not buy these. Anyway, these are pretty easy to use. Like I said, you want to go ahead and wash your brush and then dip it in nice clean water. I already swatched that. Oop. I kind of like the smell of gouache, which is probably not a good thing that I'm seeing. But it does like have this weird chalky scent to it that I'm kind of a fan of. I don't know if that's, you know, normal or not normal. But yay, the smell of new art supplies, right? The one thing that I don't like about gouache and watercolor, or at least like watercolor that I'm used to, like the ones that you get it from not from a pan, you know, the liquid ones. I do not like the fact that you have to keep it so clean. I am so used to making a mess. Like, my hands are always messy, my space is always messy. Like, as you can tell, my table is just wrecked. And, you know, like, it kind of requires you to keep a nice clean space when you're using these kind of materials. And it's not something that I'm used to. So I don't know how much I'm going to personally like using gouache. I do like using watercolor, but I'm more like the pan. So I might actually prefer this. It's just going to be a little bit tricky whenever I like want to make messy artwork. I'm going to have to kind of put into consideration to keep things clean. I do like how easily it moves on the paper and how opaque it is. That is something that I'm super excited to be working with while using gouache. I also like how matte it is and how like opaque. I want to use like a lot of it, but I know that you're not really supposed to use a lot of it. Like, it's like a watercolor. But I think just because it's so chunky and I'm so used to picking up a lot whenever I'm using acrylic. Like, a lot of this goes a long way, and that's also something that I need to kind of get used to as well. Oh no, and I also have like a really hard time like distinguishing the clean water and the dirty water. Not like, you know, obviously that's dirty water, but I mean whenever I'm cleaning my brush and I'm dipping for more water. Just something that you kind of got to get used to, I guess, if you do plan on using gouache. If you're a first-time gouache user, or if you're so used to a different medium, that's something that you want to take into consideration, just like how different it is. I think I already used this one and this one. I think this is my last color to use. Is that 18 colors? Let's see. Can Nick math? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 and 6 is 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Ooh, I used something twice. Somewhere on here, there's something that I used twice. Oh, it was this green, because I added black to that. So, yeah. Anyway, here's my swatch test. They do actually work really well. I do like them. The only issue that I'm gonna have is having to keep that clean separate, because they are so, like, moist, I guess. That word. And I think that it's very different whenever you're using watercolor. Not different, just it's different for me, like just having to get back into the mindset like it's okay to make a mess. But anyway, this is the HIMI gouache test. I'm gonna go ahead and open up my other one and we can compare. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and open up these Master Touch paints. I can already see myself not using these as much just because I don't personally like small tubes. Like, not that I don't like using them, I just don't like the idea that they're so small and that I could potentially run out fairly quickly. So I just have a tendency to not use them ever unless it's like a dire emergency. Although I should take into consideration these were only $7 for all these colors. And that's actually pretty affordable in my opinion, because I know whenever I was in college we were expected to buy some that were like $7 each. So yeah, take that information as you will. Now, something that I do know happens with inexpensive watercolor is that it does have a tendency to like work weird. And by that I just mean like the pigments don't always like stay together and you end up with like this weird sort of mess. Not like a full color situation. I wish I had like an example. Maybe I can pull up one somehow. Also, like, this isn't very, I don't know what the word for, I'm out of words, guys. It's been a long week. This isn't very ideal. Like, having to open up all these, and it's time consuming. And I mean, as you can tell, like right now my space is a lot bigger than whenever I was using that portable palette. Now, I think that the nice thing about using gouache from tubes is that you can limit how much you take. So like, technically, I guess if you really wanted to get real, you could just carry around one of these with all the colors that you use, because realistically, do you ever use this many colors in a painting? I mean, if you do, awesome, but if not, like, you can be a little bit more realistic with how many colors you want to carry around. Again, gouache does dry, but when it dries, you just easily activate it with water, just like a watercolor. The thing that I'm liking about these is I know whenever I had some watercolor in a tube and they were like kind of pricey watercolors, there was a lot of oil, or not oil, I guess water? Because water and oil would not be well. Anyway, there was like whatever medium that they used to help with the pigment, like it was mostly just the medium and no pigment. Here I've been getting a lot of pigment, and I think that that's actually pretty cool. I'm not used to that whenever I open up little tubes. Even with acrylic paint, I sometimes get like this weird clear goop. And I think that that's just the medium that they use to help hold the pigments together. I am noticing that these pigments are very similar to the pigments in the HIMI, HIMI. I'm gonna call it all sorts of names, but they're very similar to the ones in there, as like they're very bright. And I think that that might be like maybe like a gouache. I'm sorry, that one's not wanting to come out. That might be like a characteristic of gouache. Don't quote me on that, because again, I've only used gouache like 2 other times in my life, and one was a little bit more successful than the other. We don't talk about the other. We can only talk about the one that I had in my college days. And honestly, like, gouache is really cool because it does dry so matte that you can technically cover up, like, you can kind of use it like whiteout almost. Now, I don't know if y'all can tell, I might have sped it up or might have just kept it at the same speed. I'm kind of lazy when it comes to editing, but this is actually taking quite a lot longer. I don't think I'm gonna swatch test the white just because I don't have a black sheet of paper. Well, at least I don't want to go grab a black sheet of paper to swatch some white. I think that if y'all see these in action, then maybe y'all kind of get an idea. See that goop there? That goop, that is gross. That comes out of like expensive high-end paints too, and it's frustrating because it's like, why aren't you all just like together? I hope that's not like a red thing. No, that one came out fine. I don't know. It's not really like a deciding factor whether or not these things are good. I just personally don't like it because then I'm like, where's my pigment? Where's the pigment? I think that I also miscalculated how many of these things I need because I'm already almost done. Take those out of here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to print out a picture on some cardstock. Maybe not cardstock. I might use this. I might do it on cardstock. Who knows? Because, I mean, I don't know. Realistically, I watercolor on everything and probably shouldn't watercolor on everything. But, I mean, you kind of have to use what you have. If you're an artist on a budget like myself. I'm gonna go ahead and call this empty gouache. Y'all, I really don't know how to spell gouache, isn't that sad? Here we go. Empty gouache. Now, I'm just gonna add some water to that. Ooh, I'm already telling that seeing that this pigment doesn't stick as much as the HIMI gouache colors. Like, it's kind of giving me that I don't want to be connected sort of situation that I was talking about with watercolor that I've experienced before in the past, like lower end. That's not to say that you can't get like quality work from it. It's just, if you do plan on, you know, spreading it out a little bit more with water, you might want to take that in consideration. Like, hey, you might get pigment that doesn't want to stick to your color. So far, you know, it's roughly like, I don't know, I almost want to say that these aren't as vibrant, but this is actually more my color, like more of the ranges that I personally like. I know that that's kind of what I got from my Arteza paints, is like, yes, they're super vibrant, they're super cool. I like using them occasionally now. Well, I use them actually a lot. For a long time, the Arteza paint sets were actually the only paint sets that I had available to me, because I left my other paints at my brother's house. But one of the things that, like, one of the comments that I had gotten on some of my paintings with the Arteza paint set were actually like that they didn't seem as deep. And I think it's just because I personally don't know how to use, did I use that twice? No, that's from there, so yeah. I personally don't know how to use really bright pigments. It's not like something that I like doing. And I think that that was kind of a critique that I got from what, like, the paintings that I made, is just like, they don't seem as deep and they don't seem as like me. And I think that with this paint set, like, they definitely are more my speed, more my colors that I like to use, and like they have that messy look to them. But again, like, that's not for everyone. So this red is the one that had that weird goop in it. Ooh, but it comes down so nicely. See, like I said, whenever you see that goop, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because oh my god. But I mean, it's just something that annoys me, because it's like, girl, where's my pigment? I know for me, sometimes whenever I watch artists use things and they use them like the way that I wouldn't use them, I start like cringing in my, like, just cringing in my seat, like, girl, you're not using that right. So I hope that y'all...
Now playing drilling. Oh. Minus the bear.
No, we're not playing music. Sorry about that. But sometimes whenever I see artists use like things wrong, it makes me so cringe, and I'm just like, it's not working for you because you're not doing it correctly. So I think, like, if y'all see that I'm not using this correctly, like, feel free to leave it in the comments, like, hey, that's not how that's used. And don't think that I will be offended, because honestly, like, I've never used gouache except for, you know, the 2 times in my life. So for all I know is, like, I could be adding like the wrong amount of water, the weird, like, I should just be using it all wrong. I don't think that I am, but I could be. And also, I think, like, too, you have to experiment with mediums the way that works best for you. Because, I mean, although I do cringe and sit in my seat like, oh my god, that's not how that's used, I also respect those artists a lot, because they create some pretty amazing things with what they're given. So that's no shade to them, just so we're clear on that. Okay, so post-edit me was like, wow, this rant is really long and unnecessary, but basically I was thinking I was gonna make this a shorter video, and then I was like, nah, I'll make it into 2 videos, but then I was like, you know what, it's just gonna be 1 video. I think 35-minute review is okay. Maybe. That's just post me. Yeah, I mean, leave a comment if you would agree or disagree. Let me know what y'all think. Alright, back to the video. Okay, so you can kind of see where the pigment is kind of coming apart from each other. So, like, here's the pigment line, and then there's the, like, color. Loose pigment color, and then it kind of tears the paper a little bit more. I don't know why that is actually, because these are done on the same sheets of paper, but this is a little bit rougher, was a little bit rougher on the paper. Here you can kind of see like there's a little bit of pigment separation and some of the colors, and then here like it's like all one. That could just be because I don't fully know how to use gouache all that well, but I mean it just might be like the way that the brands have their formula. Honestly, looking at the two, convenient wise, this is definitely a surefire, like super convenient right there, like good to go. I think that the pigments are very similar to each other. Some of them actually work a little bit better with the HIMI brand versus the Hobby Lobby brand. I personally like this color palette a little bit more. I mean, there's not really a huge difference. I just really like this color, and I mean, I guess that would be the equivalent. It just looks nicer here. There's more greens in here. I know that, you know, if you watch some YouTubers, yeah, green is like an ugly color for some, and I don't know, I personally like green. Also, there's a little bit more oranges here. I'm personally a fan of orange. Again, orange and green also aren't very popular, so I could see you not wanting to use those, but I think that actually that orange color and that red color are, but again, that's personal preference. Here, I do think that the brown actually came out pretty good. I think that, yeah, I think just the brown, honestly. Everything else is kind of too watered down. Maybe that's, again, me not knowing how to use this properly. But, I mean, some of them, like, in comparison, really, I think it's more so what do you think is going to be more convenient for you. Again, the Master Touch is less expensive. It's easy to go out and grab, but you're going to also want to have to grab some of these guys. And if you want to carry them around with you, like to just like, you know, set up and do, you will have to decide what colors you want, or, you know, if you buy one of those big things that you can store them in, then, you know, that might not be an issue, but then you're going to kind of be spending the same amount that you spent on this guy, which is, I want to say it's around $20. I would have to look that up again, and I will correct myself in, you know, post edit, but I want to say that this one's like 20 bucks, and you do have to wait a little while for it to come to you, and a lot of the times it is sold out. But I mean, it's worth it if you want to give gouache a try, because it's super easy. You just undo everything and then use it like you would a watercolor. Which one I would probably use more, I don't know. I don't know if I would come back to gouache, if I'm 100% honest. I do like the way that it works, but it's definitely something that I would have to play around with and get used to. Yeah, I think I'll make another video coming up where I'm actually using them in a painting, and then you can kind of see more or less what looks better and what works better. Maybe I'll do like a little split screen and have two. That sounds like a fun time. But yeah, this is kind of my review of gouache for, you know, first-time users. Me being a first-time user myself. Well, not really first time. I think I've made that very clear. But yeah, so I guess tell me which one y'all like. And yeah, I will see y'all next time.